Hi everyone, Danny Bader here, and I'm excited to welcome you back to yet another episode of our podcast, 11 Minutes to Inspiration, where we offer you information, some interviews with some really cool people, and simply observations for your consideration that are all designed to support you in being inspired to continue creating a happy and fulfilling life. Because after all, that's why we're here, right? Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of 11 Minutes to Inspiration. I'm excited to have a guy here that we're going to spend some time with that I've known for a long time, and Chic Kelly. I'm pretty sure that you are really going to enjoy some of the insight that he's going to offer to you here. So Chic, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Looking for the opportunity to chat with you.
Good.
Two Norristown guys.
That's it, two Norristown guys.
Born and raised.
Yep, so a couple miles apart, right?
Yep.
So Chic, why don't you tell our listeners and viewers, just give them a quick story as to who Chic Kelly is and kind of what's your story.
Sure. So, like I said, Danny, we grew up in Norristown, and Irish Catholic family. So religion was a big part of our whole heritage and growing up and the whole mindset. Mm-hmm. Catholic grade school, and then when I got to 8th grade, I was at a point where my parents wanted me to attend a high school where I could participate in my life's dream and the number one activity which really drove my whole entire philosophy, which was ice hockey. Unfortunately, Bishop Kendrick High School didn't have a hockey team, so my parents petitioned the Archdiocese to let me go to Carroll, which was in King of Prussia, a few miles down the road, and that didn't seem like it was going to work out because back then you had a geographic, rule set on where you could go.
Sure, yeah.
So long story short, a friend of mine who I played with, who was a year ahead of me, his father called my dad and said, "Hey, why don't you think about going to Malvern Prep?" And of course my parents said, "Yeah, as soon as we hit the lottery, we'll be able to send Chic to Malvern Prep."
Yeah, right.
But lo and behold, Malvern offered me a pretty nice financial aid package, and I ended up going there. And Malvern's been a big part of my life since then. Entered there as a freshman in 1984. Played 4 years of hockey for Malvern and played club hockey on top of that. So I was on the ice 7 days a week. 365 almost. Played a lot of summer hockey.
Yeah.
I played some other sports, but hockey was definitely the most important one.
And you were pretty good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you were.
I would have been a really good.
He was.
I would have been a really good Division II hockey player.
Right.
So I was at the point in my senior year in high school trying to figure out where I was going to college and trying to do that delicate balance of where I could play and who was going to give me a little bit of money, and was trying to find a good, comfortable fit with some Catholic college up in Connecticut or in Massachusetts or somewhere where I could get a good education and play hockey. So I actually finalized my decision to go to Fairfield University. A good friend of mine, Frank Kenny, knew somebody up there and said, look, he was in contact with their admissions department, said Chic would be a great member of your community there. He'd be good for the hockey team. The coach was really great. He wanted me, he said, you'll play right away. You'll be second line right away. So I was all set to go to Fairfield. The financial situation was a little challenging. My older brother was already in college. They weren't, really able to give me that much money to go there. So, I was going to do the typical, take out a bunch of student loans.
Sure.
And with about 2 weeks to go in high school, that same guidance counselor, Frank Kenny, came to me and said, Merrimack College in Andover, Massachusetts wants to offer you an academic scholarship. But I know that they're Division I in hockey. Why don't you think about it? Because I know how much hockey means to you.
Yeah.
Understanding that my chances of playing there were sort of slim. They had gone to the final 8 of the country the year before.
Yeah.
They had just joined Hockey East. So went home, talked with my mom and dad, and sort of had to make one of those big life decisions on, what's best for me, what's best for the family, what's best for me in the long run, and financially, and they're both good schools, and that whole, you kind of have to grow up and say, do I have to give away something I've loved my whole life and get cut and quit, and end up playing men's league.
Yeah, right.
So
you weren't done with that dream yet, were you? Yeah.
So I took the scholarship, went up to Merrimack in late August of '88, and went and visited the coach. And he's like, look, you're more than welcome to try out. We have open tryouts, and literally 108 guys tried out, and it becomes a numbers game.
Yeah.
From the first day, and I realized that if I was going to make the team, my only chance of making the team was just basically go.
Yeah.
Full tilt,
Bring it.
Started with dry land training. I had to show these guys I'm serious about it, and that I'm going to go above and beyond anybody's expectations and push myself to the absolute physical limits.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that I stood out in dryland training. I mean, even the guys who were in my townhouse would come and cheer me on. And the coaches were kind of like, "Who is this guy from Philly that has his own cheering club for dryland training?" I was like, "This is mildly embarrassing, but it was kind of
Dryland is what, just sprints and workouts and stuff.
Yeah, push-ups and calisthenics and
agility,
weights and
speed drills.
I run cross country my senior year in Malvern, which really helped me because, we would do this test every Friday where you'd have to do like how many push-ups in 2 minutes, how many sit-ups in 2 minutes, how many pull-ups, how fast can you run the 40-yard dash, and it was a whole litany of things, and it ended with a 2.5 mile run.
Right.
And a lot of hockey players don't like running that far. But a good friend of mine, Fran Hoey, convinced me to run cross country with him my senior years in high school. So I was like, I'm right back at home running distance.
Oh, yeah.
It's a peaceful thing. It's funny because people don't think of running as a punishment. For me, I found out it was a very peaceful thing.
Yeah.
Even though it was a physically challenging activity, it was just one of those things that brought a lot of tranquility to my life, a lot of perspective.
Nice.
So I would just get in the zone, and I'd always finish like one of the top 3 of the whole entire crowd.
Yeah.
Every Friday in the competition. So then we hit the ice, and there was no jokes. Like they give you 2 days, like Saturday and Sunday. Just 2 hours on the ice, half hour to cut the ice, 2 hours back on the ice, so 4 hours of tryouts per day, and then they cut like half the guys, more than half the guys the first weekend.
Yeah.
So I was pretty sure I was gonna make the first cut. I was really just hoping to sort of be on the practice squad, like the 5th, 6th line type thing.
Right.
Where look, I'm on the team. I was going to participate, like happy, and just go to practice every day.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to be able to. There was a couple of guys like Richie Peon, they were already drafted in the NHL. It was crazy. You're on the ice playing. Like, the guy got drafted by the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, it's cool though, right?
Intimidating. I played with Jeremy Roenick a bunch growing up against him.
Yeah, right.
From the time he was from Richfield, Connecticut.
Right.
So actually, that used to be my job. It was like shadow Jeremy.
Nice.
Yeah, now he's big time, so.
Yeah.
But he looks pretty good on TV for his age.
Yeah.
We're about the same age.
He probably still thinks about you.
Yeah.
Where the hell's Chick?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where's that guy who used to once in a while stop me from scoring?
That's it.
We used to play them and be like Jeremy 6, us 5.
Yeah,
right. So lo and behold, I was lucky enough to make one of the final spots. I mean, I remember sitting in the locker room, they're going to keep 8 of us, and it was 10 of us here, down it. And the strangest thing happened was one of the guys who got cut was the same guy whose father recommended me to go to Malvern Prep, Steve Kinsley.
Wow.
And he flat out told me afterwards, dude, the reason you made it is because you just wanted it more. You just worked way harder than I did, and I learned a life lesson from that.
Good.
And honestly, he was one of the most talented players I ever played with and against. And, and a really good guy, a good teammate. So living the dream then, I met some nice young lady.
So you made the team then?
Yeah.
D1 walk on.
Yeah,
right?
so, and like I said, I would have been happy being the on the bench for my whole career. Just participating and playing a little bit, of course, hoping to get a little bit bigger and stronger. And I was crazy. I was 6'1", but I only weighed like 150 pounds.
Yeah, right.
So, everything was going perfect in my life. Then I met a nice young woman, and I had really great friends, and it was like everything in my life was absolutely perfect until the afternoon of November 3rd, 1988. And I was at practice doing a drill I'd done a million times. By the time I started playing when I was 5 or 6 years old, just go around center ice, guy throws you a pass, and you catch the pass, go in and shoot on goalie. The guy threw the pass a little too far in front of me, and even though trials were over, I still had the idea that I had to keep proving myself because there's no guarantee I'm going to be on this team next year. So I was always going full tilt. Went in on goal. I never caught up to the puck. The goalie reached his stick out. I got tripped and I slid head first on the boards. And unfortunately, I broke my neck. I was completely numb. I knew right away that I pretty much put together what had happened instantaneously.
As soon as you didn't lose consciousness?
No.
As soon as you hit though, you knew?
Yeah, I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't do anything. And the crazy thing was my buddy from Malvern Prep was coming up to visit me for the weekend.
Yeah.
So as they're putting me on this stretcher and they're wheeling me off the ice, I think they thought I was starting to get delusional. I'm like, somebody has to go to the bus station in Boston and pick up my friend Dave Chitman. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was like, no, I'm serious. I'm not delusional. My buddy's coming in and I was going to get him. I was going to borrow my friend's car to go pick him up.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what is his name? What does he look like? I mean, this is before cell phones.
Sure.
So I couldn't be like, here's his number, right? So he was actually the first person to visit me in the hospital.
Wow.
Got there even before him.
So they took you to the hospital and then...
Right to Lawrence General
What happened
Hospital.
in that day or two?
I remember being in the ER and just the look on the nurses' faces knew something.
Right.
This was serious, and CAT scan right away, and X-ray, and I remember the nurse holding the phone up to my ear so that I could call my parents, and I'm sure they could tell from the fear in my voice, and I could tell from my mom's response. It was tough, knowing me. I mean, I have 8 nieces and a nephew now, so I don't have any of my own kids, but I feel like I understand what it's like to be a parent.
Yeah.
I have a lot of kids that I've taught over the years, and I'm sure it was just devastating for them to hear that their son's laying paralyzed on a stretcher in Massachusetts. So I was only up in Massachusetts for about it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I flew home Monday night to Medevac plane, Learjet. Actually, the plane ride was kind of cool though.
Was it?
My dad's like asking this guy all these questions like.
Yeah.
I have a fancy go, and the guy's taking pictures. Like, what building is that? It's like Liberty One. He's
oh god.
Like,
so
can
we
concentrate on landing the plane?
That's
safely?
it. Get my son there. Where'd you go then? To Penn or
Thomas
something?
Jefferson.
Thomas
University,
Jefferson.
Yeah. You really learn the value of medical professionals, and especially the nurses. God, it's the saints.
Yeah.
One of my nurses, Nora Kramer, is still a good friend of mine.
Nice.
My sister ended up going to nursing school, working for her. And,
that's great.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up. I'm what they call C5 quadriplegic. I broke my 4th cervical vertebrae, and then damaged my spinal cord at C5. So limited control of my biceps. And stuff.
Right. So then you're home. Did you
Well,
come
actually,
right? How long were you at
the
Jefferson?
journey, that was one of the most difficult parts of the whole thing.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So, it's crazy to say this or to think this, but being paralyzed wasn't the worst actual part of this whole situation. So I got into Jeff Monday night, and I had a halo on. Halo is like it's like a cast for your head, so it keeps it stabilized.
Yeah.
And they wanted to take me right down to MRI and do surgery in the morning, but unfortunately, the nitwit doctor up in Massachusetts put metal pins into my skull. So I had to get those out and put on a new halo. But in the meantime, I went into respiratory distress. So I completely collapsed on where my lungs had filled up with fluid, and that became the serious battle of my life because I was on a ventilator for the better part of 4 months.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to breathe again on my own.
Yeah.
And that was like living hell. I mean, from November, December, January, and February were just not pretty.
Yeah, I remember
lost
that.
a ton of weight. I was miserable. I wasn't seeing anybody. I only had like a list of 5 or 6 human beings in the whole world that I would allow me to visit. Thankfully, 2 of my good friends from Malvern Prep were on that list, and they would take every other weekend at college. And Jamie Mullen and Dave would come. Dave Chimwick.
What were you thinking then, man? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, they were pretty dark days. It's crazy to say, but it's difficult to see even yourself as a human being when you're so sick. Like you can't enjoy anything. Like I couldn't eat because I couldn't swallow. I wasn't breathing on my own. I couldn't move anything. Like I even TV didn't appeal to me. It's funny because I love Randall Cunningham. The only thing I would get up for, I'd put the head of my bed up just to watch Randall.
Watch Randall.
Randall
was good to watch.
Like your good friend Jim Murray keeps promising he's going to hook me up and meet Randall sometime, but
all right, anybody out here knows Randall. We got to make a connection now. Come on, Randall Cunningham.
Yeah. So it was tough. I mean, that's just, the anxiety of the nurse would be like, okay, you have to breathe on your own for 4 hours, so we're going to put you back on the ventilator. And you really, you'd be like, oh, you're scared, and you're out of your mind. Just the anxiety was through the roof. So that was, and then.
Were your thoughts were, because you and I both know life gets us, right? And you get those thoughts, and it's really hard to have, any type of vision of this getting better. You're just kind of at the proverbial
a good friend of mine,
end of the rope or something.
Tom McGuire, came in and said to my parents, as bad as this looks, if you can think 6 months down the road,
right?
If you can just see Chic in 6 months, this will all be behind us and this nightmare will be over. I kept getting sicker, which was frustrating because the doctor's saying, medically, functionally, the X-rays, the MRI say that he will have lung capacity to breathe on his own.
Right.
He just has this illness that won't go. We just got to kill the disease and the bacteria in him, so he can get over that. So we can. And but the one thing I did learn was the absolute necessity and power of friends, and family, and faith.
Yeah.
And even though my faith was tested, their faith was was steadfast and just
Yeah.
they just brought. And like, it's not like a crazy Bible thing. It's more like living it.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Just
Yeah.
being spiritual through taking care of other people.
That's it.
Yeah, so that was the. But when that ugliness and that difficult period ended, in mid-February or in late February, I just.
Did you feel like it ended? Did you feel like a
Well,
shift
what
in your beliefs? And you use the word
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot?
I can remember the day that they finally took the trach out of my throat.
Right.
And they're like, no, I never did like this. The nurse putting the suction thing down there and getting all the gunk out of your lungs.
Yeah.
Pounding on your chest every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was up in my wheelchair. I'm like, I can go do rehab now. I can eat food and swallow again. I can. It was like, okay, I'm gonna put my life back together. Instantaneously, I thought, I'm going to try to live my life as close to it as it was going to be before I got hurt.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
That is powerful. That is powerful. So then, after that, you did what?
So I come home June 26th of '89, and my brother was at St. Joe's University, and thankfully, the 4 months I spent at McGee Rehab, I was healthy and starting to trying to figure out what am I going to do with the rest of my life, and how am I going to start getting back into what I would have been doing.
Yeah.
So,
but you had that focus that, damn it, all right, this sucks, but
the good thing about being an
keep
athlete
moving.
was once I was up in my wheelchair and I was healthy and I could talk and eat, and I started getting some movement back in my arms.
Mm-hmm.
I liked going to OT and PT. I liked therapy.
Right.
I like working out. So
then that athletic mind kicked in and
exactly.
you're competing again.
Yeah. I mean, you're competing for your. I remember the therapists and doctors saying, the more you work now, the more return you're going to get. It's going to pay off.
Yeah.
So when I came home from the hospital, my brother and I and my family had already decided that it would be a really good idea for me to take classes at St. Joe's.
Mm-hmm.
Merrimack was really good about offering me to come back and do whatever they could to facilitate that happening, but it was just too far. 6 hours.
Yeah.
Away from here. I just wasn't in a position to be away from my family.
So then you went to St. Joe's
So I
in
went
Philly.
to St. Joe's in
University,
Philly. I took a couple
yeah.
classes the first. So I got out of the hospital in June, late June. I took classes in September.
Wow.
And I'm right back at it. It was the best thing because, you're like, look, I'm a person again. I'm going back to school. I'm meeting people and socializing.
Yeah.
And learning, because there's a lot to do. This disability, being paralyzed is, one part of it. But there's, it's dealing with some of the, the not so obvious, things that have to be taken care of sort of behind the scenes.
Sure.
You have to, your body is changing and reacting. So, but it was good because I was able to go there. My brother was there. His roommate for 4 years, Declan Ford, who's like saint. Great guy. He was there. A bunch of other good friends were there, and they were able to take care of me.
Right.
When I was there, like there was a system like who would get me out of the car, who would take me to class, who would take me to lunch, who would put me in the car when I got home.
Right.
So and then I met a bunch of people because I went back to what would have been my sophomore year. My brother was a junior. So then he graduated the following year. So now the last 2 years I'm there, I lost my support system.
Yeah.
But a bunch of these girls stepped up to help me out.
Of course. Yeah. They're only human, right?
Yeah.
They're only human.
This girl, Andrea Caton, she used to put me to bed like 2 nights a week. I always tell people, we had a symbiotic relationship. She was 20 and so she could push me in the bar and nobody carded her.
Yeah.
So you put me to bed, I'll buy the beers.
That's
it. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So then you graduated St. Joe's.
Yeah, in 1993 with a degree in economics and philosophy.
And then you have your master's as well.
Yeah, so what happened was after I finished at St. Joe's, I was actually at church with my younger brother Mike. We used to go to church over at the Sacred Heart Hospital because it was the fastest mass.
That's all right.
It's a terrible thing to say.
God's good with that. No, God's good with that.
Like I used to get through church and I get mass in like 23 minutes and boom, done,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
the over-under was
exactly.
23 minutes, right?
Don't be late or you're going to miss everything.
Right.
And we're leaving there. He's pushing me across the street, across 202, and he's like, there's a job opening in Malvern to teach social justice. Paul Simpson's taking a sabbatical. He's going to get his master's. You should do that. You have this degree in economics and philosophy. I think that would fit really well. And I thought, yeah, why not? So I called Jim Stewart, who was at Malvern Prep, and he had me out for an interview. And he said, well, we have good news and bad news. The good news is we'd love to hire you, but Paul has postponed his sabbatical and his master's. Would you be interested in teaching middle school theology? And I said, all right, I'll do it for a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got me here. I'll do it for a year. So finishing up my 24th year at Malvern. So
Wow.
yeah.
So teaching at Malvern Prep and night school at
night school
St.
in
Joe's.
Villanova.
Hey, Villanova. Oh, you know my wife is a cheerleader for Villanova.
I know.
Yeah.
It's funny because I went there. People were like
Big Rob, St. Joe's, Villanova.
Yeah, Big Rob.
And Martelli coached us at Kenrick.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
Phil Martelli.
My brother Tim's like, yeah, Phil, he cut me, so that's.
Yeah. So now teaching 24 years at Malvern.
Yeah. So
right.
Yeah, I've taught 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade theology. I've taught 12th grade philosophy, theology electives. I've taught.
Yeah.
I taught economics there for 8 or 10 years.
That's
Econ,
great.
yeah. John Ostick, a good friend of mine. John taught me accounting, and then it's really cool. It's really cool to work with people who taught you.
Yes.
But him and I have a really cool connection because, he taught me, and then when I started teaching economics, he was like my mentor again, and now we're colleagues, and it's really it's a neat situation to have somebody you can bounce ideas off of and talk about and talk shop.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Couple questions for you. So in teaching these young men, and they probably have, hopefully they know, but some of them may not have any idea how gifted they are, and how fortunate they are to have you. From your journey, Chic, which is amazing, how has that impacted how you, I don't even want to say teach, but how you lead and interact with these young men?
No, it's a good question. It's funny because Jim Stewart, who I mentioned earlier, who hired me, he's like, if you want to be a good teacher, you have to have it here. In other words, you have to be an expert on your subject and master that. But if you don't have it here, it doesn't matter. And I really literally took that to heart from the moment I got hired, thinking that this is really a job about helping young people discover who they are and their place in the world and what's really important, what's truly important. And teaching religion, hoping they could get some perspective on their moral and ethical responsibilities to themselves and others, and having spirituality and God in their lives. So, I'm in a unique position because I think that the gift I have to offer is that they can see, like, here's a guy that dealt with adversity and overcame it, and he's just a regular guy. Obviously the first couple of days we're in class with new students, especially with the younger kids, they're just stunned.
A little uncomfortable.
Then a couple of days later, they're just as bad as they would be. But,
Right.
So, but it's cool, and it's the thing about being an educator is that you have a new crop of kids every year, and I think that what I've learned over the years is you have to continue to learn with them. In other words, kids today are different than they were 5-10 years ago, and with what they have to deal with is different. Now, some of the things never changed. That was like being a middle school student or being a high school student comes with certain challenges. Having self-esteem, and it's a really challenging thing for a lot of kids.
It's
fitting in,
so key, right?
And you look at some of the
we see all the
things,
tragedy in the world because of
exactly.
the lack of that. Getting people just to understand
right.
that they are worthy, who they are. Right?
Yeah, and having kids feel good about themselves. And deal with some of the problems. And I was so worried about the X's and O's the first couple of years about getting my subject matter down that I probably wasn't as good as that. And I think that now, when a kid's acting out or not doing his work, or there's generally a reason why, and there's just something going on behind the scenes. Whether it's his parents are not getting along, or he's unhappy, he's depressed, or he just doesn't fit in, he doesn't feel like he has a lot of good friends.
Right.
It's crazy. Like some of the kids that you really think wouldn't be dealing with this, some of the kids are really popular.
Yeah.
They're like, it's crazy.
You got to heighten your awareness, right?
Yeah.
They're lucky to have you for sure, man.
Yeah,
they really
honestly,
are.
But I'm lucky to have them too, because I can't put into words how cool it is for them to say, "Oh, thanks, Mr. Kelly, good class, thanks." It's you never get tired of hearing it.
No, because then that's your self.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Like honestly, that's more of it. You don't make a ton of money teaching, especially at a Catholic private school. You pay your bills and stuff. You're not getting rich.
Yeah.
But
But there's value in other ways, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not about the money. It's about you touching some young kids.
I can't imagine doing something where, going to work every day where it's work.
Right.
It's more of an occupation than it is a vocation.
Right. Yeah, I got it. Cool. So outside of the teaching and all, what are you up to? You got a foundation, right?
Yeah. So
tell us a little bit about that.
Chic Kelly.
Right.
It's www.chickelly.com. So it's CHIC
Okay.
No K in Chic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. CHICKELLY. And
Right.
over the years, we've been able to help out a lot of people in the Philadelphia areas who've had spinal cord injuries.
Okay.
And some of it's financial support. We've been able to raise some money, do some fundraisers.
Right.
Things like buy people a wheelchair, or help people get a ramp in, or help them renovate their bathroom.
Yeah.
And then and even just going to visit people. Over the years, I've had the privilege of being the person who, now that I've had an experience of what this is like, trying to help somebody else get from where I was to where I am.
Yeah.
And
I'll bet you do that wonderfully, man. Plant some seeds of inspiration in them, right? Little vision.
And some of the stories are really tough. One of the kids that I got to know, actually, Mary Ann Parsons, is a good friend of Joe Mullen. This family, the Lancasters, their son had spinal cord injury, and the crazy thing, how the world works. The kid driving the car, Evan Brady was a Malvern Prep kid, and he was out to breakfast with a bunch of his public school friends, and this kid Eddie Lancaster had a spinal cord injury, and his injury was so high up on his neck that he was on a ventilator for life. And Eddie lived for about 5.5 years after his injury. But getting to know that family was amazing. And I remember my mom and I going to visit Eddie for the first time, and my mom putting me in the car after we left and said, "Geez, I'm never going to complain again. That family had so much more to deal with, because that ventilator thing. I was on it for 4 months. He was on it for his existence."
Yeah. So chickkelly.com, right?
Yep.
Cool. Well, I have certainly enjoyed this chat.
Cool.
And I'm glad you do it. We're doing it from Chick's Beach House in the wonderful Avalon, New Jersey.
Yes.
Some of you might know that. So Chick, you have certainly had a wonderful journey, and you're an inspiration to a whole lot of people. Certainly me and many. Life can beat us up once in a while, right?
Yeah, it sure can. Yeah.
What would you offer to people out here? What are 2 or 3 things that you need to hold on to really tightly in this life?
Yeah, it's a good question.
To enjoy it and be resilient.
The first thing is, you have to find something that brings you peace, tranquility, perspective. For me, I think that's 2 things. I've been working out with the same dude, Jim Gorman, for years. We all call him Gorman. He's just in addition to being an excellent trainer, he's just a great human being. Just a selfless person. So working out, I still train 4 times a week. I don't get to train with him every time because he actually he volunteers to help me out. He's that good of a guy.
Right.
But at least once a week get to the gym with him. And music, those are the 2 things in my life where going to see them. We were just talking about John Eddy.
Yeah. Right? Anybody knows John Eddy?
Same old brand new.
We're gonna shoot him a video after this. To FaceTime him, right?
So there has to be something in your life that that makes you aware of. Geez, at sunset is something I really should take the time to appreciate. Put down the phone.
Yeah.
I hate when I'm at a concert and people are doing this with their phone.
Instead of just
just
enjoy
it. I get 2 minutes of it for prosperity, but posterity, but you don't need it for it's just So, and then like I said earlier, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mom and my dad and my family and my friends. I do feel for people that don't have that support system.
Right.
I don't. I'm sure you feel the same way about your wife and your kids and your family. It's they're just people in your life that make you realize what's really important.
Yeah.
My little nieces come down here. It's just hanging out with them. It's just.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not be happy?
Game time, then, right?
Yeah.
I hear you.
I really do. I mean, it sounds like trite or commonplace, but you really have to enjoy the moment. You have to enjoy when I'm at the beach for an hour or a couple hours, just take it all in. Because that sometime down the road there's going to be another bump.
Right.
You gotta sort of create a bank of memories and happiness that you can take withdrawals out from when you need them.
Yeah, that's well said, man. Hear that? Just enjoy the moment, right? As Chick said. And then, because there will be bumps in the road, right? That'll slow us down, and you want to wait for them to happen. Like you said, build that reservoir.
Yeah.
Make sure your relationships are strong. all the research says the happiest people on the planet are the ones with the strongest relationships. Yet I see so many people, Chick, you probably do too, that the relationships are suffering because they get busy. They're getting 200 emails, they're running around like nuts, the kids are in 15 different sports, travel teams and all. Yeah, slow it down a little bit. Cool.
Yep.
And how about your faith?
I think God and I have a pretty good understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine living without spirituality.
Yeah.
You know, having. I think it's such a personal thing. It's one of those things where, you know, some people need to go to church every day. Some people don't need to be in the building.
Sure.
But you need to have God in your life somehow, some
Right
way.
on.
And I really think that, you know, I learned from, you know, when I was at Malvern Prep from a good friend of mine, Jerry Ellis. You know, when God shows you He loves you, He does to other people, but you can't just accept that love. You know, it's your responsibility to bring it to other people as well.
Yeah.
I really think, you know, that faith is a lived thing. It's not you know, a stagnant idea. It's one of those things that we have to incorporate into what we do every day.
Live the message, right?
Yeah.
Live the message. Cool. Well, I have certainly enjoyed chatting with Chic Kelly. I'll bet all of you who know him enjoyed listening to his insights, his wonderful insights. And those of you that don't know him, you know him now. So 3 things to remember, as Chic said. Find something that you're passionate about. Stay connected with people. Slow down. Enjoy the moment. And in your own way, connect to that something bigger than us that we all know is out there. Because I think you'll be happy if you do, right?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Thanks so much, Chic. You're a fine man.
Thanks, man.
Great to be with you. All right. Peace out. Well, thanks a lot for joining us for another episode of 11 Minutes to Inspiration. I thought it was just great. I had a really good time doing this one. I'll trust you gained value and insight as you continue to create and harness the tremendous power of inspiration. And as always, I'm wishing you much happiness and fulfillment on this wonderful journey called life.